Hello everyone and welcome to New Tech Tuesday Tutorials. I am your host Richard Evans. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, today I'd like to show you how to use the TriCaster control panel to control PTZ cameras. Now you can do this with both NDI enabled cameras and other PTZ cameras connected to your TriCaster or network. Now this will enable you to manually control the different pan, tilt, and zoom features of your PTZ cameras, and also eliminates the need for you to buy an expensive PTZ controller. So let's dive in and take a look. Alright, so here we are in the TriCaster TC1 interface. And today I'm going to be working with one of our NDI PTZ cameras, and I'm going to bring into my input number 3. So let me show you how to do that within the interface first, just to get it set up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's click on the gear configuration on input number 3, and I'll go to my source drop down, and I'm going to select from my list of different cameras available to me. Now I'm going to select my NDI PTZ camera that I have here in my studio, but if you have another camera, like say a camera that supports like Visca or RS-232 or any kind of a PTZ protocol, you can still use this same function. You just need to either select them from a different source if they're not NDI enabled, like say a local source coming in via SDI, for example. But once you have those all connected and hooked up properly to your network, you'll be able to just do basically what I'm doing here today. So let me go ahead and select PTZ1. And first thing you'll notice is, there we go, there is my shot in my studio of my armored gentleman here. And now what I want to do is I'm going to show you different ways to control the PTZ camera within the TriCaster interface. So you'll see on my input number 3 settings, I have a tab here at the top for PTZ. Go ahead and click on that. And then you'll see that I have different options here for presets, which I'll get to here in a bit. But then you also have your controls here at the bottom. So check this out. So what I'm going to do here is, you can see that I have my pan, tilt, zoom controls here. I can grab my mouse and move those around so I can pan that camera around my studio here. All right, so let's get this looking a little bit better like that. Okay, and now let's go ahead and zoom in. I can use my mouse here as well to zoom forward and backward. Let's go ahead and zoom in pretty quick here like that. Okay. Now I do also have the option here of adjusting my focus and iris from here, which I can toggle on and off. I'm going to go ahead and leave those just here by default for the time being. But next thing I want to show you is how I can set up different presets for these cameras so that I can toggle between different shots. So let's say that I have a PTZ camera on my studio floor, and then I want to have a close-up shot kind of like this. I can say grab a preset by clicking on this camera icon, and boop, there we go. I have that preset good to go. And let me go ahead and zoom out so I can have a wider shot here of my armored gentleman. All right. Do that like an establishing shot, for example, and then I can save a preset of that on number 2 simply by clicking on the camera icon for that. So now I have these 2 different shots here, for example, and I can toggle between them simply by clicking on them. So do that, whoop, the camera will zoom in automatically, and I don't have to do any of my operations here live. So this is a good way for you to be able to start to block out different camera shots and then just select between them using your different presets. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to clear this out for the time being. And now let's move over to my control panel and show you how this is all going to be done here. All right, so this is our TriCaster control panel we're going to be working with. And the first thing I want to do is assign the stripe up top to be the main switcher row so that I can have my controls here on the right control that PTZ camera. So to do that, I'll hold down Delegate and then click Main, and then you'll see that Main is illuminated over here in the top right, sorry, top left, and then I can start to do some of my different controls here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So all of the controls for the PTZ camera are going to be over here in the top right. So what I'm going to need to do now is tell this section that I'm now controlling a PTZ camera. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to hold down the PTZ button here on the top portion, and let me go ahead and zoom out and show you what happens here. So I have PTZ held down right now, and you'll notice when I do that, the lights that I have on my main top stripe here are going to change a little bit. Okay, so hold down PTZ, and so there's basically 3 rows that you want to be focusing on here. So you're going to either be looking at the top row, which is where you're going to select the camera, the number the input number that that camera is attached to, and then you have your AC banks here for storing different presets, and then your B and D row here for recalling presets. So let's look at the top one first. So I'm holding down PTZ again over here on the top right, and now what I want to do on my interface, since this is currently selected as input number 3, we'll go to our key layer here and select 3. When we do that, you notice that that will light up here at the top. Okay, and then I can let go, and now this is just back to my normal switcher row. Okay, now from here, let's go ahead and zoom into the top part of my control panel. Here, now I have that selected. I have input 3 selected, and now I can use my joystick here and my different controls to then manipulate the different aspects of my PTZ shot. So, for example, let's go ahead and I can zoom in by turning my joystick clockwise here. See, that's zooming in. All right, and I can zoom out by rotating it counterclockwise. All right, and of course I can move it left and right, up and down, all around, all that jazz. That's pretty cool. Okay, cool. So I can also do things like I can adjust the focus on this. So if I wanted to, I can then move my focus in and out if I needed to, just by doing it manually here. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that back as autofocus over here on my TriCaster, just because it'll make it easier, but just gives you an idea of how you can change your different things around. All right, and again, you can always hit reset, and it'll reset things back to the factory defaults that you have for that. Same thing with position scale, and let's go ahead and start to manipulate our camera, and then we'll start to store different presets onto the TriCaster. Okay, so right now we have this wide shot here. That's looking pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and program that as one of our presets. So to do that, let me go ahead and zoom back out. And what I'm going to do to assign a preset is I'll hold down PTZ again. All right, and then when I do that, again, you'll see that I have 3 illuminated here in the top because that is the input that I'm currently using for that camera. And if I had multiple cameras, I could simply cycle between them here, but I only have the one camera for today's example. All right, now I'm going to keep holding down the PTZ button, and on my A and C row here, this will allow me to then write to that preset. So if I click on number 1 here and take a look at the interface, now you'll see that I have a preset over here in number 1. All right, and now let's go through and let's set up another preset. I'm going to zoom in a little tighter on our armored friend here, get a nice shot. And honestly, using the controls in the control panel is so much easier than using the keyboard and mouse way of doing things. I really like doing this. Made my job a lot easier. Okay, so from here, let's go ahead and we have that selected. So let's hold down PTZ again, and we're going to assign another preset into number 2 by clicking the 2 here on my A and C layer. Boom. And if you look on the interface again, now I have that preset available. Okay. Now, if I wanted to recall these, what you would do is you would hold down PTZ, and don't hit the A and C row here because that will overwrite what you have. But you would click the number of preset you want on your B and D layer, and that will cycle between them. So I only have 2 presets here. So if I click on number 1 on my B/D layer, it will select that preset. And if I click 2, it will go back to my close-up. So pretty cool stuff. Making PTZ control super easy using the control panel. Highly recommend checking it out. And there's so many things you can do with this piece of hardware. I love it. And yeah, have some fun. So as you can see, you can do pretty much everything with the control panel, from switching your shows to manipulating virtual sets to controlling your PTZ cameras and more. A truly powerful and game-changing creative tool for your shows. Now, if you like this video and want to learn a little bit more about NewTek products, smash that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/NewTekInc. And if you'd like some formal NewTek product training, sign up for NewTek University, which is available at newtek.com/newtek-u. And for more information about NewTek products and services, you can contact your local reseller or visit our website, newtek.com. And always, if you're posting your work on social media, tag us using the hashtags NewTech or TriCaster. I'm out there checking out all of your posts and saying hello, so keep it coming. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for the next edition of NewTech Tuesday Tutorials. Booyah!